Good morning. Thank you, Chairman Miller, Ranking Member Brown, and members of the committee for inviting me to testify before you today on H.R. 3216, the Veterans Emergency Treatment Act. I believe one of the most important functions of our federal government is to support and sustain those who have been willing to sacrifice all they have to defend our nation. Whenever our government fails to meet this responsibility, I believe swift action must be taken. As everyone on this committee is well aware, we have heard far too many distressing stories in recent years of the Department of Veterans Affairs failing to provide our veterans with the care they deserve. This legislation seeks to address one of these problems. In short, H.R. 3216 would ensure that every enrolled veteran who arrives at an emergency department of a VA medical facility and indicates an emergency condition exists is assessed and treated in an effort to prevent further injury or death. It would accomplish this by applying the statutory requirements of the Emergency Treatment and Labor Act, or EMTALA, to emergency care furnished by the VA to enrolled veterans. EMTALA grants every individual a right to emergency care. While a 2007 Veterans Health Administration directive indicates that the VA complies with the intent of EMTALA requirements, VA hospitals are non-participating hospitals and therefore are not obligated to fulfill EMTALA requirements. It has become abundantly clear that the VA is not fulfilling the EMTALA directive. All too frequently, the policy is to turn down those who access the emergency room. My attention was first drawn to this issue because of the experience of one of my constituents. In February of 2015, 64-year-old Army veteran Donald Siefken from Kennewick, Washington, arrived at the Seattle VA hospital emergency room in severe pain and had a broken foot that had swollen to the size of a football. No longer able to walk, he requested the emergency room staff assist him in traveling the 10 feet from his car to the emergency room. Hospital personnel promptly hung up on him after instructing him that he would need to call 911 to assist him at his own expense. He was eventually assisted into the emergency room by a Seattle fire captain and 3 firefighters. Another notable incident related occurred in New Mexico in 2014 when a veteran collapsed in the cafeteria of a VA facility and ultimately died when the VA refused to transport him the 500 yards across the campus to the emergency room. It is actually the Veterans Health Administration's stated policy that all transfers in and out of VA facilities of patients in the emergency department or urgent care units are accomplished in a manner that ensures maximum patient safety and is in compliance with the transfer provisions of EMTALA and its implementing regulations. Unfortunately, however, this policy is not always followed, and occasionally, locally designed transfer policies at VA facilities serve to undermine efforts to provide emergency care to veterans in these critical moments. Additionally, in some of these incidents, there was clear confusion on the part of the VA facilities about their own transfer policies. This is why Congress must act. I'm grateful for the support of this legislation that has received from leading veterans organizations, including the American Legion, Disabled American Veterans, as well as the Veterans of Foreign Wars, and I look forward to working with these organizations to make adjustments as needed that the legislation may need to ensure veterans receive improved medical services during emergency medical situations. Thank you again, Mr. Chairman, for holding this hearing today. I look forward to answering any questions you may have, and I ask unanimous consent to submit for the record a response from the VA to my letter of June in 2015, as well as a letter of support from the Retired Enlisted Association on my legislation.
Without objection, so ordered.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Newhouse.